Einstein stated that you can't solve your problems with the same state of thinking that created them. Most people think that is to think positively. However, it doesn't. It means your internal structure determines the trajectory of your results. Today, I'm going to take you through a 3-part sequence to show you why force will always fail without an internal shift. Let's get straight into it. Today, I'm going to take you through the PSE sequence. I'm going to show you how this framework can completely transform your results instantly as soon as you allow it to click. The issue is most people are skipping the most important part of this 3-sequence step, and they're trying to jump all the way through to the final part of the sequence. Now let's map this out. You start off with a desire. Your desire is also the potential of what you can actually achieve and the results that you can have. Most people are focusing on the desire and they're focusing on the potential. They feel it, they may have a knowing, they may have seen evidence of its potential throughout their life. Before we can get through the 3-part sequence, we have to understand the underlying framework of where we are now and where we are trying to go. We have to understand the foundation of why this is occurring. So right now, you are your current self, which is your actual self, and the results that you desire are your ideal self. The problem is that most people are trying to have the results of the ideal self. However, they are still stuck in the mode of being their current self. And what most people are doing is they're focusing on the ideal outcomes. They're focusing on their desires. Regardless of what methods you use, if you have not shifted your internal state to actually become your ideal self, you will not have the outcomes that you desire. This is not mysticism, it is physics and performance psychology. In order to get from your current self to your ideal self, so then you can have the ideal desired results that you want, we need to understand this first. Energy follows structure. So regardless of how much energy you are putting in, how much force, how much repetition, how much continuous strain you're putting in to get the desired outcomes that you want, you will not achieve them unless you change the structure. Here are some examples of how this flow works. In physics, the path is determined by the structure of the Lagrangian. In humans, the trajectory is determined by the structure of identity, state, and expression. That's why when Einstein was saying that we cannot change our circumstances unless we change the state of how the thinking is occurring in the first place, we will continuously repeat the cycles and have the same outcomes. Therefore, part 1 of the 3 sequence that I promised you is the potential of the outcome that you experience. These are the ideas that you have. This is the vision that you have for yourself. This is the future that you see for yourself. Potential is also based on the actual potential of what you are capable of achieving and what you are capable of receiving. And nobody even knows the potential of what they could be receiving in life and what they could be creating in life until they start to experience it come out into formation. Potential refers to the first part of this sequence. Now, most people have the ideas, they have the goals, they have the vision, they have their desires, but they are not reaching their desired reality. A very important part that I want to share with you is where you are based right now is your current self. And based on who you are, there are potentially an infinite number of ways for you to get to your desired reality. The identity that holds the desired reality is not the same identity of your current self. What most people don't understand, and one of the most important messages of this video, is that most people are going through multiple different avenues, multiple hardships, force, whatever it be, and it is taking them a longer time with greater resistance to get to their desired reality. Now, here's the issue. There is a shorter and more direct path, the one of least resistance that I refer to, that leads you to your desired reality. However, your current self doesn't yet embody the structure that it requires for the energy, the discipline, the productivity, the effort that you're putting through to be traveling along the path of least resistance. That is why you can have exactly the same people going along to the same goals, but one gets there quicker than the other person because one is following a path with less resistance and one is following a path with greater resistance. And what happens is the one that is following the path with greater resistance may be experiencing multiple trials and tribulations going up and down, and hence they get to that point in time that is behind the timing that was required for them to have that desired result. The issue is, as people, we are not working with the laws of creation, the laws of physics, the laws of life that actually can make your life so much less complicated and so much easier. And when I say easier, I'm not speaking about laziness or lack of effort. I'm talking about less resistance that keeps you away from your desired outcome. That is not only going to change with the way that you think, it is going to be influenced by the structure that you hold those thoughts in. The structure that I'm referring to is part 2 of the 3-part sequence. The structure that I'm referring to is your self-concept. It is your identity. It is your state of being. It is how you feel most of the time about yourself and about how difficult, easy, however the flow for you is in order to achieve your desired outcome. Do you actually believe that you can achieve it? Or do you believe it is going to take a lot of time, it's going to be hard work, you're going to need all these resources to make it happen? How is your perception in regards to achieving your desired outcome? How you feel most of the time? It is the consensus of your most dominant thoughts. It is the most emotionally charged feelings that you have. It is your perception and it is your beliefs. It is your preconceived paradigm. When I refer to paradigm, I'm referencing the beliefs that you have inherited from family, from social dynamics, from the experiences that you've had that have in turn created expectations, because now your mind has a track record of how things have turned out for you. And hence, whether we are aware of it or not, our subconscious mind builds this paradigm within itself, a pattern recognition within itself of this is what has happened in the past. Hence, this is the equation of A plus B plus C equals D. So what happens is your subconscious mind is saying that this is what's happened in the past, so this is what I should expect will happen for me. Your expectations, and ultimately all of this leads to the frequency. And when I refer to frequency, I'm talking in a matter of the way you present yourself, the energy, the emotion, the mindset, the thoughts, the belief systems, the whole package that you lead with subconsciously and consciously. You see, 95% of the actions that you take are created from consider it like the subconscious mind is the womb of creation. It is where your thoughts germinate. It's where your memory is held. It's where all of these dynamics that I've referred to are kept safely. Imagine a library. those libraries that you've seen in a movie. Think of Harry Potter, or a movie that you've watched, wall-to-wall library of books everywhere. Your subconscious mind is a resource of memories, thoughts, emotions, recollections of your dynamic as a human, as a person, and how you relate to this world. Your conscious mind is running 5% of the show. Now, here's the powerful part of this. Your subconscious mind and your conscious mind work together in essence of masculine and feminine energy. And when I refer to energy, I'm not coming from a mystical perspective. I'm coming from a basis of your subconscious mind is the womb of all of these attributes that I've shared with you. And your conscious mind is the masculine inception. It is the leadership. It is the choice of deciding what you want and the changes that you'll make. Your conscious mind has the ability to choose. Your subconscious mind will follow through with what your conscious mind is consciously directing if you are stepping into a conscious direction of who you want to be, how you want to move, then which will impact what you actually have in life. Now we are getting into the third part of the 3-step sequence. The third part is expression. The expression is always the outcome of your potential, the structure, and how the flow of your ideas, your talent, your skills, your self-mastery, your behaviors, all of the elements that I showed you, all of the principles within the structure, how that flow outputs into the expression of your reality. Therefore, you may believe that your identity is pretty solid, that you've worked on it for many, many years, and you know yourself very, very well. However, if the expression doesn't match the outcomes that you desire, then you must trace back between part 2 and part 1 and find where the problem is. Some people are feeling quite comfortable in their structure of who they are, their identity, their self-concept. They've got a pretty good business going on. They've had a level of success. They've got financial stability and they're feeling quite good. However, they are feeling depleted of inspiration, of ideas, of potential. They have reached a plateau of what that identity's capacity is. Hence, the expression is an outcome of what the potential and structure is. This is why you may be experiencing a continuous outcome of why you are always having the same level of income, attracting the same type of partners. This is why if you're trying to lose weight or get fit or have a health goal, you're still stuck at the same weight or health outcomes. Because there is a pattern occurring in your identity architecture. Once you understand that you are carrying a pattern that is telling you that you must force and push harder in order to reach your success, success is not about forcing harder. It is about restructuring the system so the motion becomes inevitable. When I refer to the path of least resistance, I am not referring to laziness or not putting in effort. I am referring to minimal identity interference. And what this means is your ideal self requires minimal identity interference in order for all the energy and effort and all of the productivity and all of the skills and talents you have, everything that you're putting in to the work that you do, into the life that you are creating, to have the minimal identity interference. No one is perfect, and this isn't about trying to be perfect. This is about mastering who you are with greater precision. Therefore, the outcome and the expression becomes inevitable. Now let's focus back on the structure, because this is what's going to make the greatest difference for you. What is occurring for most people is that there is a misalignment within their system. A misalignment can appear as self-doubt, as having belief systems that tell you that it's going to be very hard, difficult, challenging. The type of mindset, the type of belief systems that are not actually aiding you, they're holding you back from putting in your full direction of your mind, your concentration, your energy, your action to bring that ideal into reality. Misalignment also occurs predominantly from self-betrayal. You see, most people who are not firm in who they are and are very aware of the identity level it takes to hold your boundaries, to not become a people pleaser, to step in full leadership. When I refer to self-betrayal, I'm speaking of the times when you've wanted to say no and you've said yes. I'm speaking of the times when you've known a relationship was no longer a safe space for you, or no longer something that was aligned to your heart, and you still stayed there. I'm talking about the times that you undercut yourself. You took less of a salary because you wanted to please the people that you work for. I'm talking about the times that you've pleased so many others and put yourself second. I'm not saying this from a selfish lens. I'm talking about being overly selfless that hinders you back from aligning to the identity that will meet your desired results. Another area that most people struggle with is the skill gap. Now, you can have a level 10 ambition and only have level 7 skills, or a level 7 identity, a level 7 structure, and hence why you're not getting the level 10 outcomes. Therefore, it is wise to be investing in evolving your skills in the areas that are not yet fortified and strengthened to meet the level 10. That is why the clients that choose to work with me are moving so easily and so rapidly from their former self into their ideal self, and hence why their outcomes are surpassing what they believe their potential would be. The final part of this is an environmental mismatch. Now, when I refer to this, I mean that you may be someone who is in the process of self-mastery. You're focusing on bettering yourself. However, the people that you spend the most of your time, they are in a mismatch output. And the majority of time you spend with the people that you interact with are not heading in the same direction. That is why it is so important to be in an environment that is leading in the direction that you want to be going in, that is aligned to your ideal self, rather than taking a longer route. That is why you can find it is a very slow, long process, a lot of learning, because it really comes down to how large the learning gap is. Now, if the learning gap is quite large and you don't have structure, again, going back to my PSE framework, if you don't have the structure to refine you, to make sure your energy is focused in the right trajectory to your desired reality, and the structure is there to lead you in that direction, then you will take longer to get there. And for many people, they don't get there. And what you will find is that it is a harder route, many more life lessons, trials and tribulations to get to this ideal self. Now, most people are struggling and they don't get to the ideal self because they are falling short. That is why Einstein made the statement, match the frequency of your desired reality, and you cannot help but get it. This is not philosophy, this is physics. In order to reach your desired reality, you must become your ideal self. Now, to become your ideal self, we need to be aware that there are paradigms and there are limited beliefs. There is an identity mismatch from the ideal self and who your current self is. That is why you are not getting the outcome, the expression of the results that you want, because you are leading in the focused leadership, the energy of an outdated version of yourself. Leading from an outdated version of yourself, this is why you are experiencing anxiety, frustration, anger, bitterness. For some, it's jealousy because they are comparing and seeing other people's results, and they can't help it. They don't want to feel jealous. They're just having these emotions arise from them. It could be anger. It could be further compounding self-doubt, because what is happening is you are looking for evidence of your desired reality to be showing up in your reality now. But what most people are missing and not understanding, your current reality is the direct expression, the direct outcome of the structure, the identity that you held in the past. It is the potential, the thoughts, the goals, the mindset that you had in the past. Think of it this way, there is a time lag. So who you were a year ago has created the reality that you are experiencing now. That is why people keep going around in a loop, and why their identity is continuously reaffirmed with the evidence that they're seeing in their current reality, and hence bringing up all of these emotions and frustrations and mixed feelings. And what that does is it attributes as the dominant emotionally charged thoughts that you have, and hence it becomes your prominent state of being. This is why you're not having the breakthrough. This is why you're not piercing that invisible ceiling, getting the expression and the outcome of the results that you want, because you are lost in this world of overwhelm and very heavy thoughts and feelings that are hindering you back, because you are looking for evidence of your desired reality show first before you believe it will happen. This is why force alone will not get you the results that you want. This is why when I refer to your reality will reconfigure around you and it will feel effortless, is not mythology. It is actual results, from results that I have experienced, from results that my clients experience, from results that high performance, the elite understand, and hence why they have these outcomes. You no longer have to be pushing against life, pushing against the grain and pushing against resistance, trying to have the outcomes that you want. What you need to do is focus on the PSE sequence, the 3-step sequence that I'm referring to. If you consider life as a game, as a masterpiece, an artwork that you are creating, and that you are the creator, the conductor of the direction of that life, I'm going to show you how you can outsmart the game of reality by simply clicking and watching this video.